So today I'm going to share with you the benefits of living in an RV at a RV park versus being out here on your land. I'm going to share with you the pluses and some of the minuses of living in an RV, getting a touch of freedom and adventure. So are you thinking about getting out there, the wild adventures of living in an RV? It's exciting, it's fun, without a doubt, no matter what you do. But all RVs are not created equal, just like all RV parks are not created equal. I'm going to share with you our experience. Here it is in North Florida, and we did over 2.5 years of living in an RV. And I'm going to share with you about some of the pluses and minuses about living in RV at a park as well as on our land. So let's go and let's take this adventure together. Now, living in an RV park, if you pick the right park, there's a lot of positives to it. The one we picked was just outside of Tallahassee. It had accessibility to everything we needed, and it had a direct accessibility to Dollar General, you know what I'm saying? Ain't that like Dollar General when you're in an RV park, you're gonna always need something. And so it was very accessible. So some of the benefits that we had on-site pool, we had on-site maintenance, we also had a washer and dryer access, and we had like a welcoming center with a library and a lot of different things where you can just come in and sit down and fellowship. And the grounds were kept very well. There's nothing in the world having than you know that the grounds are kept very well. So those are the things that we definitely like. We had a flat rate monthly fee. We knew what our bills was going to be, at least we thought, until I get to the cons. We had a monthly bill. It encompassed our utilities, our sewage, our water, and it also had Wi-Fi. So we had all of those amenities right there. Another good benefit when we was at the RV park, we found a place it was so many different sites that we had available. One of the sites that we picked out was kind of a little bit set back away from everybody, because the whole point was we wanted to kind of get away from having neighbors all over us. So we found a cul-de-sac. It was on a slope, and it had a nice little stream running right by it. And we sat right there nestled by the stream. So when you walked out the RV, you looked out and you saw the stream, and we was on a dead end. We was at the very end of that particular neighborhood. So it was perfect, at least that we thought. Now, having all of those different things, you also, because it was on the slope, we never owned an RV before, there were some problems. So here I am, a novice to having an RV. All I had was a quick little tutorial, which now I look back, it was weak when I bought the RV. It was a pre-owned RV, and I got it from a pre-owned dealer. Right there that sold cars, trucks, and vans, and boats, and a little bit of everything. Didn't know nothing about setting up an RV, making sure you get level ground, making sure you get a good solid foundation. But I saw this slope, I saw this thing, I thought it was nice, a rolling hill, I thought it was beautiful, right? And here I am on this slope, trying to put a 37-foot RV on a slope. It was nightmarish. It took me almost a whole day to just try to get halfway set up, and then it took me another 2 to 3 days to get it balanced and get everything. By the time I went back and forth to Home Depot, remember, we was very accessible to all the different things, buying concrete blocks, buying wood, cutting up the wood, trying to get everything leveled and put up right. I realized that wasn't the spot for us. I mean, walking sideways every morning, getting up and feeling like maybe the RV may turn over, I realized that we might not have had chosen this spot. So having an RV park, living in an RV park, your topography, you're not just stuck with. So we went to the manager and we was able to find another available spot. Now it was, of course, it was close to everybody else now, and we're in the heart of everybody else, but we was able to find a good leveled out spot. And that's important, especially if you don't know what you're doing. Now, once again, did I say that we only paid a monthly fee? It was around a little bit less than $500, and unlimited water, which is important when you got an RV, because you got to flush out on an often basis. Then electricity. So you mean to tell me we could go for a hike, we can go for a walk and leave the AC on and don't have to worry about electricity bill? And then Wi-Fi. We had our YouTube channel, we could still upload with no interruptions. We didn't have to pay for any external services. It was all wrapped into one flat rate, which for us, coming from over a 2,300 square foot house to an RV, it was a thumbs up for me, and I loved the monthly cost. It was great. It was amazing living in a RV park. Now let's talk about some cons, because there were some cons. All right. Some of the cons I'll start off with. We was in an RV park. Even though we had accessibility amenities, we had to share everything. There were certain days where the wash house was completely full, especially during the weekends. There were times where the pool, you go for a walk, you sit outside, it was people everywhere. Now, I would say, I saw some amazing things. I saw some very entertaining things. People sneaking and doing this and doing that when people are at work and doing that. It was creative, it was interesting, entertainment, just sitting out watching people, doing people watching. But people always try to find something to get into. We had little chickens at the time, little chicks, and then we were setting up, and everything we did, somebody came to talk to us. A manager came to talk to us saying, hey, notice you got some chickens, you can't have the chickens here. Hey, notice you park here, you can't park this way, you need to move your vehicle when you park this way. I noticed this and that. So we had people that pretty much lived there full time that would report simple things where everybody else was doing what they was doing, but because we didn't do the interaction thing, we kind of kept to ourselves. People. Same thing that we wanted to get away from, people. Another con about living in an RV park. The spot that you pick, you may not be able to stay in that spot on a consistent basis. So be prepared to move. We had plants set up, we had everything laid out, we had to make like a tropical paradise. But there are people that book spots and locations, especially in Florida, at different times of the year. And so we would have to move from one lot to another lot. So keep that in mind. Sometimes you can't just kind of get yourself set, get yourself established, because especially if you're in a high demand area, you can only be there for a certain period of time. Another con that I really got on us, that we really knew we had to go, they went through a buyout during that time, and every month the rent went up. And I'm not talking about just a little bit. It was like from 400 and some change to 700 and some change to 800 and some change to even up to 1,200 the month that we got ready to get out of there. So those are some things you want to just keep in mind whenever you do decide to do an RV and you want to live in an RV park. Just keep those things in mind, okay? Now let's talk about some of the positives in having your own land, raw land on top of that, and living in an RV out on your land by yourself. Now for us, we was in a remote location. No water, no electricity, no sewage. Yeah, we were really roughing it. We were really living this life. What we dreamt of doing in the beginning to transition, but let me tell you, fam, it is beautiful being able to get on your own land, wake up, and all you hear is the same thing you hear in the background, a cow. You hear that? You hear cows, right? You might hear some crows, you might hear some birds. It is quiet and peaceful. You can even hear yourself breathe. Hear the wind blow, you hear a leaf drop. Man, I don't even know, in the beginning, it took me a while to get adjusted to this type of quietness, this type of silence. And it was so like encouraging to the part where you wake up with the sun, because when you're RV, you kind of in the elements, you know? When the sun wakes you up, you get up. You know, when it's nighttime, you go to bed because it gets dark and quiet. You really can't do too much. And yeah, we didn't have the water, we didn't have electricity, but we managed to still enjoy the time. We spent a lot more time with each other and fellowshipping with each other. I don't know if I failed to mention no neighbors. No neighbors, no one to tell us to put the chickens away, no one to tell us where to put the cars, no one to interfere on what we had going on. Heck, I could have got up butt naked and walked outside. Not to say that I did out here in this woods, but I could have did whatever I wanted to, and no one cared. That's a feeling that I haven't had in my life. I can't even think. Maybe when I was a child somewhere living out in the country, but it was so freeing. I could take a walk without nobody dog barking at me or not in fear of anything. I could sit outside and just think and meditate. I could listen and wake up with the sun, and then I could go down and look out at the stars at night with no interruption. Man, I'm telling you, being on your land, being out here in a rural area, left alone, it's beautiful. And it's really like a soul-warming type situation. So now let me tell you about some cons, because I do have some cons about it. Now hear me, and hear me well. Out here, no one's coming to save you. No maintenance man. Some tears up 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the middle of the morning. You gotta fix it, and you better fix it. You got your sewage, and it just so happened that a raccoon is crawling up underneath your sewage line, and that flex line, they knock it loose, and you hear some water just running and streaming in the middle of the night. You got to deal with it. No water. I never realized how valuable water was until I never had any water, and we had to bring in all our water. Now, water is very important, and I would say you want to establish some water source ASAP, without a doubt. You need that water because you don't even realize how much you use water. Water is something that's necessary in life, and you definitely need water. Another thing is, when it's cold, it's cold. You're freezing. Not having that constant source of electricity to heat or to cool your place, you have to adjust to the climate. You learn how to deal with coldness, you learn how to deal with heat, and it's a battle. And it can be very aggravating, it can be very frustrating, and it'll make you second guess what you're doing. So you have those things. You also deal with, like I said, pests and critters and insects, and insects rule the world, you ask me, without a doubt. You can get away from a lot of different stuff, but insects are everywhere. And for us in Florida, sand, oh my goodness, no water and dealing with sand everywhere, it was straight frustrating. Now keep in mind, if you don't have any electricity, you don't have any water, you're going to be very, very conscious of your usage on what you're doing. Because if you're utilizing or storing up resources for that night or for the heat of the day, you can't just leave the vents on. You can't just let things run. You have to conserve, and then you have to recharge, and then you have to conserve, and then you have to give enough time to recharge. You never realize how many rainy days or overcast days you have until you have to depend on solar. When you're utilizing solar for a lot of your battery powered stations, or you're using solar for a lot of your energy, there's times when solar is just not enough. And man, if I never hear a gas powered generator again, it'll be too soon. I don't even like listening to gas powered generators. I'm so sick of hearing gas powered generators. But they was a blessing for us. When we did establish our well, we didn't have electricity. We depended on those gas powered generators to power our well, to power our RV. It was life-saving without a doubt. Every day we had to buy gas. Every single day we had to buy gas. It was very costly, it was very expensive, and then during the winter months we had to constantly buy propane just to stay somewhat warm. And if you're doing this full time, you're going to utilize places like the gym, the library, different places like that to cool down or to warm up, or just places to sit. And that way you won't be using so much electricity, so much energy. So just keep those things in mind. It's benefits to all. It's benefits on the side of living out here in the woods, in an RV, off-grid. And then there's also benefits in living in an RV at an RV park. I just say, dive into the adventure, learn a lot more about how to survive, how to do for yourself, how to not be so connected to the everyday life of consumerism. Explore your options, have fun, and just do it, and do it in one accord. And understand, don't quit, don't give up, but just keep on working together, communicating, going through, get your frustrations out, and then agree to disagree. But at the end of the day, whatever you do, make sure that you keep on growing. Grow. Till the next time, fam. Y'all take care. Stay well. Ain't another thing. What that poop do? When you're out here in this raw land, you gotta get creative with the poop. In the beginning, we had this container that we got from this camping world place. And the container, it seemed like it was big. It seemed like it would last a long time. And we connected the sewage, the black line to, or the black water, to this container. And man, that container just ain't that big, man. And I had to load it up on the truck. Loading it up on the truck wasn't that easy, right? But then after I loaded it up on the truck, I had to go take it to a weigh station. And the weigh station was, man, it was about 30, 40 miles away. Couldn't do that every day. So a lot of people say, so what do you do with your food? What do you do? Look up horticulture. Look up humiculture. That's what it is. Look up humiculture. Man, we had some tomatoes out this world. We had some banana trees out this world for the time that we lived off grid. I'm just saying, you gotta do what you gotta do.